Lori Levy earlier today between 3 and 3:30. We do not have her on this particular town hall. So we're not going to be able to ask the state question, but we're going to air grievances. We're going to talk to the lawmakers and see if we can help each other. And in some of what I do, we'll be able to help you right now. So what I want to do is begin with firsthand accounts. And I want to start with those that are experiencing roadblocks and still don't have their money. Carolyn Stava, I believe I'm saying your name right. Is that correct?
You are perfectly. Thank you.
So what happened to you? Were you working before this all began?
I was. I worked almost 8 years for Avis Budget Group at the San Jose Airport. I was a Teamster, Union 856. 856 was no help. My HR department was no help, but I did apply the day after I was laid off, March 16th. I got to the point of the telephone interview and they called me. He verified who I was, said I did not qualify. I said, wait, why? What should I do? And he hung up. So
wait a second, because I've heard a lot about this kind of stuff. This is call center hijinks that I've dealt with for, 30 years, which is if you're asking a question they don't want to talk about or it's going to be difficult, they look at that. Everybody's shaking their head. Everybody's shaking their head. We've all had it happen to it. So was it one of those classics? I was asking Lori Levy about this today, saying, are you concerned? Are you investigating this? So you were in the middle of a conversation, all of a sudden,
click, right. Yeah. And then, trying to get through to their phone numbers, even their messages hang up on you. So, sorry, no. We can't handle it. Click. So that was really frustrating. So I started using their email system. And you get an email back saying they got your message, but nobody ever responds. Then I started trying to do things like by fax, which is so ancient. You have to go find a fax machine. And of course, even the fax machines are too busy. What were they asking you
for? I hate to interrupt you, but what were they asking you for that you needed a fax machine?
That's a problem. They don't ask you for anything because they don't communicate with you. So you put in your application, they've hung up on you. You can't find out why. And so I downloaded a few forms that I thought I downloaded the appeal form and I faxed that to where they said to fax it. I mailed it also. And then the computer would let me certify the first two sets of weeks. And they sent me a letter saying that they received my certifications. Then all of a sudden they went to disqualified. A week later, there was a message on the screen, and I really wish I took a screenshot. It said that if you applied between this date and this date, and you've been disqualified, we are reevaluating, and it became pending. So, a little hope. But
now, what day is this now? What's the date now?
Now I'm on May 1st.
So a month and a half, 6 weeks.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So toward the middle of May, I was just throwing my hands in the air. I didn't want to spend my whole day calling different phone numbers that hung up on me anymore. So I started reaching out to my representatives, senators, representatives,
right,
councilmen, and I have had a touch of help from Evan Lowe's office, but I'm not sure what I believe anymore. I get a lot of, we're working on it, we're asking them to expedite, we're putting you on a list, and I have no idea if that, I want to believe that they are working hard, so I'm going to keep it up. But it's very frustrating now, and I actually had trouble. Even for food stamps, they were giving me $16 a month, 16, for food stamps. The SNAP program.
Yeah.
But the ombudsman can fix that, just so you know. Anyway, that's my story.
Well, let me ask you this then. So you still haven't received any payments?
Not a cent, not anything.
Wow.
Oh, wait, I got something this week in the mail. I got an envelope really exciting with my personal information on it that really shouldn't be out there.
Mhm.
And I opened it, and you want to see what's in there? Nothing was in there. So
Now you're kidding me, right?
nope,
There was something in
this
there.
was just 2 days ago. I was shaking
nothing.
opening it, hoping it was something, and it was empty.
Boy, that's like
And it
waking
looks
up
like
on
they
Christmas
taped,
morning, isn't it?
they even taped the label, so somebody hand did that.
So
Hello.
let me ask you, because this is a big deal. We're finding a lot of people that I'm talking to find themselves in purgatory, which is they haven't been denied, they haven't got a check, and they don't even know what they need to do. They're just sitting there.
Right.
Is that where you're at right now?
Well, I kind of feel like they denied me without any reason. I mean, I think.
Did they deny you or not?
Well, the guy said you're not qualified and hung up. And that's the last I mean, that's really my last true contact. And after working 8 years, and really, that's not cool.
Yeah. Let's bring Cathy Fuchs Oberstar into this conversation.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah. Hang here. Thank you for your time.
I'm not going anywhere.
Okay.
Nowhere. I'm glued.
Cathy, what's your story?
Yes, my last day of work was April 3rd, and I have been trying to apply since then. I'm having trouble actually creating a profile, so I am unable to even create a profile. I've tried for many months to get a hold of someone. Middle of June, I reached a representative on the phone, and she told me I needed some help with IT, as well as then a supervisor for her to be able to review my case and also then manually create my claim. And to date, I have not heard from anyone. I literally 7 days a week carry my phone around my house. I answer every single phone call because I don't know. So I get more spam than I do anything, but I answer every call. So waiting patiently for that. And then about a month ago, I emailed Evan Lowe's office, really been responsive. They share their frustrations. It's been 3 weeks and I haven't heard back. And it's been the last week that I've been asking for an update from the office, but haven't received one. So I'm just sitting here, and we're, middle of July. I'm also being concerned about back pay, as well as then the pandemic relief, that's ending. So I just, I feel helpless at this point and just don't know what to do.
Let me give you a little good news, because I double checked on all this today to make sure, because everything changes.
Yeah.
And nothing has changed on this, which is they can pay the $600 back. They can pay the state unemployment back. So you don't have it now. And, as you know, possession is 9/10 of the law, right? But you got to get your hands onto it. But they still owe it to you, and they can legally pay you. Okay, so there's nothing to stopping that. We'll keep track of that. But you can't get your account open. Is that what we're talking about?
Correct. So here's what I believe my situation is. 4.5 years ago, I was on unemployment for just a period of time. Then they close your active account, right? And so I did get my credit card in the mail, right? But
your debit card, you mean your debit card?
Yeah, my debit card got mailed, but I don't know how that happened when I don't have anything else, right? So when I create the profile, it just gets that spin, right? And then you go ask for the robot. And what I believe it is that it's trying to connect to my old record, right? Because my credit card is connected to my account. And so I think the system's so overloaded that I just am getting that wheel of death, right? So.
Yeah, the system is also decades old.
Correct.
Which is a real issue. We'll probably talk about that a little bit later. You do have the money coming. They are allowed to pay it. I want to assure you of that, and we'll make sure that occurs. I don't know. It's interesting. Have you checked to see if your debit card has any money on it?
Yes, I have. It does not. So,
Okay.
yeah, I was hoping maybe money would just magically appear, but that wasn't the case.
I've got good contacts at Bank of America. So I'll have somebody reach out to you, Cathy,
Okay.
and we'll see if we can go back behind the scenes and see what's going on with that card. That may give us the information we need to get you settled, okay?
And I also am going to be doing, I did once a manual, just, fax it in, and never received anything. And then I listened to your 3 o'clock today. So the light bulb went on one more time, just try to fax it in again. So I think I am going to do that tomorrow. That's my action.
Hope somebody's standing next to the fax, huh?
I know, but I'll try anything at least once, right?
Oh, absolutely. Cathy, hang around for a couple of moments, if you will, please. We're going to move on. The next couple of people we're going to talk to receive the benefits, but the benefits stopped. So, you make it over one barrier and there's another one. I want to talk to Steve Jeffrey.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me move my screen around so I can find you here. Let me see. Would you raise your hand if you're Steve? There you are right there.
Yeah.
How you doing, Steve? So each week you've been filling out forms. What's going on?
So my problem should be really cut and dry for EDD. I received a notice to determination of pandemic emergency unemployment compensation. All right, great.
Okay.
So this was June 3rd. And initially they dumped $1,000 onto my card.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And the letter states that I'm supposed to receive $450 a week for a total of $5,850. It's been 6 weeks since I've seen anything.
Have you reached out to the EDD?
Absolutely. I've sent them messages. I've called, and like everybody else says, they don't answer their phone. And what you get is a certification of benefits. So when you log in,
but that's important.
Absolutely. Okay. So you log into your account and you have to certify your benefits, and you have to tell them that you're looking for a job. You have to tell them if you're too sick to work. There's probably 10 questions they ask you. And then the next page, they ask you, where have you looked for a job? Who did you talk to? And I've done all that. I've got some experience with EDD, and I don't know if it's just they're so backlogged, but like I said, it's been 6 weeks since I've heard from them.
And you don't know why the money stopped. You only got one payment though, right?
I got one payment. Well, it's $450 a week, they say. So initially, I think they gave me 2 weeks worth of money.
Okay.
And
then it just stopped.
Right. And I log in every day. Usually they give you an email, go log into your account. We have a message for you. Log into your account, and then you have your certification of benefits. But again, like I said, it's been 6 weeks.
Boy, that's tough. I've got to tell you, Steve. Are you hanging in there okay?
Well, I got a letter that says they're going to give me money, and they're not giving me any money.
And they're not telling you why.
And they're not telling me why. It just stopped completely.
Okay.
When I check on that debit card every day, and it's zero.
Yeah, it's zero. Okay. So they said they're going to give you money. They gave you a little bit of money. Now, I have one question for you, and I'm just asking. I am not accusing, because what I'm hearing from a lot of people is they say that they write down, no, I haven't looked for a job because there's a pandemic and I'm supposed to stay home. Right. And if they put that down, then they don't get paid. Did you put that down?
No.
Okay, good.
They ask if you have applied for a job. So I get on my Indeed app and I look up,
Yeah.
I work in anesthesia. So I get on my Indeed app and I look up for anesthesia jobs.
Right, good.
I see one, I apply for them, I write it down, and that's what I'm going to enter in when I do my certification of benefits. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so we don't have that issue with you.
No. I want a job. I want to work. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Steve, I'm going to move on. Will you please hang around? Let's get Marty Paradise. Is Marty here? Let me see if I can see Marty. Would you raise your hand if you're Marty Paradise? Because I'm looking through trying to find. Well, I'm not finding them. There we go. I'm sorry, Marty. You were on my very first page.
No
Marty, what's going on with you?
Well, I'm kind of in the same boat with everybody else. I'm a wine tour operator, so obviously once the COVID started, wine tour stopped. I have filed back, I think you could have started in April when the pandemic relief came out.
Correct.
So that's when I filed. It took several weeks before I got any information. I filled out, 24 questions, just like everybody else.
Right.
And they looked at my claim and they paid me $46 a week. Okay. And they based that off of income I made at the Bohemian Grove for working one weekend. So because Bolt Staffing does the paperwork for the Bohemian Grove, they based off my unemployment off of what I made that one weekend.
Well, that's probably correct for that unemployment, but you do qualify for the pandemic unemployment. I forget the exact right name of it. And that's completely different because you're a private contractor or business owner. Is that Correct. Fair? Okay. Well, I mean, you're supposed to be eligible for the $600 a week. Nothing's happened with that? No,
they actually deposited $1,200. So that was two payments.
Okay.
And nothing until I talked to Randall just a couple days ago. There's a big break in between, and they just sent me another 4 weeks. So I'm almost halfway there. If you look at the paperwork, I'm almost halfway what they owe me.
Randall, just so everyone knows, Randall is one of the 7 on Your Side producers here. He's been working very, very hard along with Renee and Simone and all of the consumer counselors, a dozen of them, have been working on these cases just all day long. So it sounds like we made some headway. We got you a couple of payments.
Yeah.
So you're 6 weeks behind, but you got about half of it.
Yeah, I'm about 12 weeks behind. I still have to claim every 2 weeks.
Right, of course.
Which I do, and that got disrupted. They said I didn't do my claim for 2 weeks, which I did. So they stopped my everything. I had to start all over again.
Okay. Well, let's move on. Jerry Millenbach, I believe I just said, no, Millenbach, I believe is the correct way to say it. Is that right, Jerry? Do I have Jerry here? I'm sorry, you guys. I'm looking for Jerry. Hey, Jerry. I've got a lot of people that I'm not seeing their faces here.
It looks like Jerry dropped out by accident.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry we missed Jerry. We'll try to circle back and get Jerry on if we can. How about Candace Napier? Do I have that right? Napier?
Yes.
Okay, good. Napier. You're out of Fremont. What's your story, Candace?
So my account has been affected in 4 different ways. I'm a self-employed hairstylist in Alameda County.
Okay.
I work at a salon in Fremont, at Tangle Salon in Fremont, California. My last day there as a self-employed hairstylist was March 13th.
Okay.
We were shut down on the 15th, and I applied for EDD. My first claim that I was told that same week, that next day, I went right back on the 16th when I applied. It said that I was not approved and I was not applicable because of the questions that I was answering were not necessarily meant for someone who was self-employed. One of those questions being, if you had work found for you, would you be willing to do so? Well, we were told to answer no, because I'm self-employed. If I were able to work, I wouldn't need anybody to find me any work. So I was denied. I on a new email address, thinking that if I started over and I answered the questions with yes, that I was able to work if work was found for me, that it would be a different situation. I was denied again, was also told that it was not applicable. That's the only thing it says on my account. It says not applicable. I then went in at the end of April on the 26th to the self-employed portal, and applied underneath something that did apply to me, which did give us self-employed people some hope.
I'm going to jump in here real quick. For some of those people that don't know, there's a different portal page, a different web page, if you're self-employed, a gig worker, that type of thing. And so what Candace is saying is that's where she went. So go ahead.
Yes, so the end of April, I applied on the self-employed portal and I answered the questions that were applicable to me because it did make more sense. So I answered all of those questions. Well, at that point, my verification, the system did not crash like the other portal had, but it glitched. So at that point, my verification, my identity glitched. So then I was told that I was denied because it looked like whatever had glitched in the system, that my claim was fraudulent. So then that was the third.
So now you have to prove who you are. Is that where you're at this point?
Yes. Well, I already went in and proved who I was. It took almost 2 months for that to happen. They sent it to me in snail mail. I had to go to the UPS store, overnight them a photocopy of my ID, as well as my PG&E bill to verify that I am who I am, that I say where I live, that I'm a real person. Right. That entire time being on hold, hundreds of countless hours with EDD. And to touch base on one of the EDD experiences that I had with one of the representatives is that I had called and I was having an emotional day and I was very concerned and I was emotional. And what I had said to them was, look, I'm a self-employed hairstylist in Alameda County. Alameda County's been hit so hard, and especially the salon industry. And I'm trying to speak for not only myself, but other people. I've been helping other people. And the lady said, well, I don't know why you think that your account is so special. There's 3 million people that are in the state of California that are out of work, and you shouldn't consider yourself to be any more important than anybody else. And then I was hung up on. So that was just
wow. So that's what we were talking about earlier, that they just don't want to deal with you. So they hung up on you. That's what you believe happened to you. Is that correct?
Yes. So then once I verified my identity, which every time that I spoke to somebody online, couldn't tell me anything, if it was in the works, if it was happening, if it was going to happen. 2 months later, right after Memorial Day weekend, my account was approved. I finally got notification that it was approved. As of June 15th, I then received what was to be my first payment. When receiving my first payment, I did not have an EDD card. So I had to wait an additional 2 weeks to get my EDD card in the mail. Once my card was loaded, I was hoping that it was going to post date back to March 13th, was when I originally applied, even though I was denied 6 times. I haven't received back pay. So I have received 2 checks, and that is it. I haven't received any of my back pay. I received half of the back pay. The 7 weeks before that, from March until the beginning of May, they are all stating that it's either pending or not applicable. And nobody can tell me. I've been waiting for a supervisor to call me back for a month. Nobody's contacted me. And at this point, my account is frozen because they are trying to figure out, because I've been contacting them in the last couple of days, trying to figure out what is going on with my back pay.
So no one you spoke, so you've actually spoke to a live human and they say they don't know why some is not applicable and some is just denied.
What they say is, I can see your account. I understand that what you're saying is the truth. However, I'm really sorry for your situation. I hope it works out. We can't help you.
So you have everything. You've been denied, you've been approved, and you've been put into limbo.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
And had to verify my identification.
Michael,
right. And that's the big one too. I got to tell you, that is huge.
Jerry is back.
Huge.
Yes, I am back, Michael.
Hey, Jerry, come on into the conversation real quick. What happened to you, buddy?
Well, I am in a unique situation. I really feel for everyone that's on here, as well as the millions of others. I'm on what's called a work sharing program. And in many of the states, if your company is approved, they can cut your hours, cut your pay, and supposedly within the state that you're in, California for us, they will supplement you by that percentage if you qualify. So we did all the paperwork. My company sent that all into the EDD. They had issues to begin with, but it was all done. And this was in May, beginning of May. So we started the week of May 16th. And what happens there is, with the work sharing program, you have to mail everything in. There is nothing done online. And I think that is what is killing us, because you're waiting, you don't know. The limbo that you are is you don't even know. Granted, you could send it certified, but like everybody who's sending identifications or things like that, you don't know where it is. Luckily, I was paid on that first 2 weeks.
Oh.
But my situation was a bit more complex. I was unemployed last February through July. So thankfully, I did keep the debit card because I was listening to you as well as many others that debit card goes for 3 years. And I thankfully had it in a drawer. And so I did look and downloaded the B of A app and then went ahead and saw that money was showing up. It was showing pending on the website. The website I could go into because it was using my old email from a year and a half ago. And so you were able to see everything there. But after that first payment, which was about 3.5, 4 weeks ago, nothing. And we've already sent in, now today was my 4th. So we've sent in 3 other 2-week documents. And again, certified. Actually, I missed 2 of them when they did not go certified. But you just don't know where they are. Then on the website, it shows that your claim has expired. Well, I don't know how my claim can expire. I'm on a work sharing program. So now you're thinking.
I'm laughing at the absurdity of all of this, not of your bad situation. I want to bring in Mercedes now. I just saw her a second ago. There you are. Hey, Mercedes, thanks a lot for waiting. I appreciate your time.
Hi, Michael. How you doing?
Good. So what happened with your account, your unemployment EDD account?
Okay, I got so frustrated trying to get through the phone that I had my daughter download 12 pages of documents. I filled it out in black ink as it required, put extra postage, sent it in the mail. It took about a month. I've been unemployed since March 6th, and I work at Levi Stadium, so I don't know when I'm going back to work.
Yeah.
I've been unemployed continuously. It took about a month, and I got my first check. I got a total of 5 checks, including the $600. I'm supposed to get $343 a week plus the $600, so that was pretty good money coming in, and it stopped May 30th. They told me I had to reapply. This time, with my daughter's help, I figured out how to do it online. They sent me a letter, several letters, that I'm supposed to get 8,918 more benefits coming down the road. However, I haven't received any paperwork because I'm not able to certify on the website. I can't get through it, and I can't get through on the phones. They have many phone numbers, websites, and I had no problem certifying when they send me that. They send you a check, and then they send you this paperwork, and you fill it out saying, yes, I'm looking for work. Yes, I'm not sick. And these are all the places I look for work in the back. For 2 months.
So let me ask you this. Do you know why you're not getting checks now? I
have no idea. Because it says right here that I'm supposed to be getting, they told me to reapply after only 3 months of checks, March, April, and May. But I have not received any checks or certification papers for June or July. And I keep calling every day to the 3 different numbers, and I can never get through.
Of course not. Mercedes, I'm going to leave you now. I'm so sorry. We're going to try to work on your problem too, but there's someone I really want to bring into this conversation, and it's John Bernier. I believe I'm saying John's name is right. Let me get to John here. There he is. John is a human resources executive specialist. He knows about all this stuff, and he was kind enough to write me and say what he thinks is going on with EDD from his perspective. So he's knee deep in it, but he's not the one who's looking for a check. So you probably do know what's going on as much as anybody. So John, first of all, thank you for writing. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. I've been working with my employees for the last 2 months, helping them get through the quagmire that is the EDD right now. And we've had some success, and I'm hoping to get some more.
So let's talk off. You gave me a list where you ticked them off of all the issues they're having. Number one, and this is something I've been really meaning to try to circle. I've been dealing with so many different products, like I'm a juggler. English and Spanish only in California?
English and Spanish only on the websites. And I believe also in the correspondence. So if English is not your first or Spanish is not your first language, then basically you have to get someone to help you. If you get on the phone, or if you want to go and apply online or on paper.
Yeah, they do have some phone interpreters, but it's kind of a minimal. And then I know they also have some videos in other languages other than English and Spanish, but it's far from seamless, isn't it?
It is far from seamless, yes.
And then you say the EDD closed about 10 of your employees' claims and you don't know why.
Correct. And actually that number has grown about 5 more people as of this week. And so we've been filling out the EDD appeal form and sending it into the EDD. And right now, only 1 person out of the 10 has actually gotten benefits back, but everyone else is still in limbo.
Wow. You also say employees that recently moved to California, I guess they've gone to the back of the line or so. You're smiling. What's up?
Yeah. Well, when during normal times, EDD works great. When somebody has moved to California and they don't have California wages for the previous 12 months, and the EDD would then subjugate the claim over to the state that they moved from. And the payments would still come from California. Basically, it looks like every state has given up on that process. I have an employee who moved to Seattle just back in December. She unfortunately was put on furlough in April, and she wasn't able to get her benefits from the state of Washington. However, we did put in a claim here in California, and we were able to get her some benefits, but not the full benefits that she's entitled to under both California and Washington's laws.
John, why are you such a great guy? I've never heard of an HR representative working this hard for people that are no longer working for them.
Well, I've always lived by my foundation of how I'm going to operate in my professional career, and the foundation is to be firm, fair, consistent, moral, legal, ethical, but most importantly, caring. And in this time of need, I feel responsible for the 1,500 employees that work in my organization that I'm responsible for. And if that means helping somebody get on food stamps or helping them with the EDD, I need to do that. And I don't mind putting in the extra hours. There isn't a lot going on since we've suspended operations, but I do have a lot of ED work to do.
Excuse me, John, I'm sorry to interrupt. This is Rando. I'm being told that we need to get to the legislators really quick right now from the newsroom. So
okay, we'll do that.
And then we'll get back to everybody else.
John, for a couple of moments. I appreciate that. Let's bring Assemblyman David Chu and Assembly Person too. Kevin Kiley, he's out of El Dorado County. Chu is out of San Francisco. I appreciate both of you two joining me here today. I'm sorry it took us a little while to get to you. Assembly Member Chu, you haven't been happy about this. You held a news conference to talk about how unhappy you are.
No, first of all, let me just thank all of the folks who shared your stories, and our hearts go out to you. And I am so infuriated hearing this, and I have this moment, as I'm sure my colleague Kevin Kiley, several times a day about this situation. And as someone who generally believes in government, this is so frustrating because EDD is utterly failing California. since the pandemic broke, my office has experienced an unprecedented number of constituents who need help with EDD. This is true for all of our legislative offices, people who are suffering, many of whom haven't gotten paid since March, and just horrifically heartrending stories of folks who have depleted their life savings, gone into extreme debt, or having trouble putting food on the table while they're waiting for an answer from EDD. And our frustration as legislators is up to here.
What's the solution here? What can be done to change this?
Well, Michael, I know we were supposed to be on a little earlier. By the way, I can stay on later till 6:30 if we need to, but we probably need about 5 hours to talk about it. Let me just throw out a couple of topics. Clearly staffing is just EDD has planned to hire almost 5,000 new staffers, but despite all the new staffing, a lot of these hires are poorly trained. They don't know what to do. We have constituents who are calling literally hundreds of times and don't get a response. And the stories about people being hung up on, we're hearing it every day. When they get a live person, they're often told the wrong information, or they're told they're gonna get called back on a list, and they never get called back. You alluded to technology. I could talk for an hour about technology, but at the heart of it, EDD has a 30-year-old computer system that uses a 60-year-old computer language. And you would think, clearly this pandemic snuck up on folks, and that's why we got caught off guard. But it was a decade ago during the Great Recession when the system broke down then, and they were supposed to fix it then, and they did. We could talk a lot about the bureaucratic culture within EDD, but it is broken. Complete overhaul.
Let's bring Kevin Kiley, Assembly member out of El Dorado County, and several others up there. Let me look till I get to Kevin here. Oh, hey, Kevin, I'm sorry we're getting to you later. Pardon me.
No problem. Thanks for asking me to join.
You're looking at it. You've heard all these exact same stories in your office. Now what?
Yeah. I mean, listening to the folks here, I mean, it is just, eerily similar to many, many stories I've heard from folks in my district. And it's so sad because people are really just desperate right now and have been forced out of work on the government's orders. And yet the unemployment office that who's supposed to be giving them the benefits they're entitled to hasn't been coming through. I don't know what good an unemployment office is if it can't help you out when you're unemployed. So I appreciate everything that Assemblymember Chu's done to bring attention to the failings over at EDD. I'm joining with a number of legislators and requesting an audit so we can figure out exactly what did go wrong. But I think there are two sides to this. On the one hand, it reflects some of the things that Assemblymember Chu just spoke to, which is the long-standing failures of this agency and many agencies in our government to run in a way that is competent, that is effective, and that is efficient. Then on the other hand, you've had some really questionable choices made by the leadership at EDD. Things like enforcing penalty weeks against people during the pandemic. Things like not letting you claim your 1099 income if you have any double income at all. Or things like using precious personnel to go out and audit small businesses even during the pandemic in order to ratchet up fines and penalties and that sort of thing. So right now, of course, the focus is on trying to just get folks as much relief as we can as quickly as possible. But we're going to really need to look closely at what went wrong here so that we can assure that, like David just said, we don't repeat this, the next time there's a time of escalated need like we had in the Great Recession and that we have now.
It's interesting when I look at how the money has been thrown around during this pandemic. And it seems like if you're a large corporation, they just throw money at you. And then they say they'll circle back and figure out who the bad guys are and punish and get the money back then. But if you're an individual, they got to make sure every T is crossed, every I is dotted before they'll send you the money. And it seems like the money ought to be going out and then they ought to be circling back. At least that's what people are telling me. What do you think, Kevin?
Well, yeah, that's the thing, is that you have, all of these things that can stop you from getting relief. And as you said, you're crossing every T and dotting every I. But then at the same time, there's a great deal of sloppiness when it comes to actually delivering you benefits, even if you've done everything right. I mean, the horror stories that I've heard of folks who have the wrong name or wrong social security number, or they don't get the right debit card, or just all of these just basic performance issues that keep people for weeks or longer from getting benefits they need to support their family. I mean, it's just it's hard to imagine a more egregious and consequential failure of the obligation that our government owes to the people of California.
Kevin, can you hang around for 5 or 10 minutes, or do you have to leave? I understand that you may have to leave. Okay.
Excuse me, Michael. I've been told by the newsroom that we have a 6:10 hard out because there's some logistical issues with the 6 o'clock news.
Oh, got it. That's right. I was told that earlier. I think my conversation is more important than anybody's. So, clearly, I've been overruled on that. Thank you very much. That was Randall, who's producing all of this. So, Kevin, I know you really want that investigation. Is now the time to be dealing with that, or should we be putting that off to another day?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a process, so we got to get it approved, and then it takes months and months for the auditor's office. So, we want to get it started. Also, though, I think that if EDD knows that there's going to be some accountability, then that'll provide some real motivation to start to do better here in the present.
Assemblyman Chu, what do you think of that? Should you be talking about an audit at this point?
Listen, of course, at some point there should be an audit. I'm supportive of that. This is clearly an agency that has failed on many fronts. But that being said, audits take many months to complete, and our constituents, Californians, don't have the luxury of time. They need benefits, not just yesterday, but months ago. And so I think we should be spending our time focused on the here and now, fixing these issues as we speak. But certainly at some point, an audit is appropriate.
Assemblyman Chu, as I mentioned before, that I'm hearing from people, should the money be going out easier and then circling back later? Or we don't want to be sending it to con men and women. I understand that, but are we too tight?
Absolutely. And I thought your point earlier about the fact that at the federal level, the Trump administration has been shoveling billions of dollars to the largest corporation with no strings attached and frankly, no accountability. And here in California, we are not just expecting the T's to be crossed and the I's to be dotted, but folks have to jump through so many hoops. And there's not the assumption that by and large, most of the folks who are applying really need the help. And I think we should get the money out. And certainly we should make sure that the monies are going to the right folks. But we can do both. We can do a far better job of treating Californians as if they need the help that they need, as opposed to assuming everyone is a fraud case, which is EDD's orientation as a bureaucracy at this point.
Back to you, what would you ask these assembly members for? What could they do that would help you and your workers that you're spending so much time on? Your microphone is off, John. You'll have to, there you go.
Well, first we need to not think that every solution is a web page. I have a lot of second and third generation immigrants who work in my organization who never owned or operated a computer. And I know this because I have an annual employee opinion survey that was done on a computer for years, and teaching people how to use a mouse is really difficult. But they've skipped the computer and went straight to the smartphone. So we need to develop an app. And, I'm not a big advocate of always just throwing an app at a solution, but this is a solution that can reach people who are computer illiterate, don't own a computer, because really we're seeing, less and less home computer sales. Second is having it translated, even if it's machine translated, into multiple languages. So, simplified Chinese, Spanish, Tagalog, probably Vietnamese, and a few others that might be useful for our state. And then, finally is that employers need to have a way to, or the EDD needs to stop sending letters that require a passive response. So when you get a letter from the EDD, it tells you about the claim, but then on it says, don't submit this form to the EDD if the claimant was laid off due to a lack of work or no other eligibility issues. Well, that doesn't necessarily solve the problem that the claimant may have put the wrong legal entity that employs them, and therefore their wages are not being reported correctly to the EDD, as well as if there's social security issues and other issues that pop up. We can, employers can take a very proactive response by providing the EDD the corrections because their employees made a mistake in a very complicated system to apply for EDD.
I want to underline something here. John did a very good job. He was saying it's as if I was unemployed and I wrote down I work for KGO television when maybe I should have written down I'm with ABC News, since that's my official employer. John, I appreciate your time. David, I want to come back to you just for a moment because I'm running out of time so quickly here. I'm hating this. What do you say to all the people that are here and are hurting? And what do you say to John?
You know, what I can tell you is that your California state legislature is infuriated, and we have had countless private meetings, public hearings. We've been sending letters and emails offering suggestions and demanding solutions. And unfortunately, until now, EDD really hasn't reacted to that. Part of the reason why I launched the social media campaign, hashtag EDD fail of the day, was after EDD told our legislative offices that even though we have hundreds, if not thousands of cases we're trying to resolve, they would only allow us to send one case to them to really focus on. And we have to then turn around to our constituents and tell them that it's going to be weeks before we can get them any answer. It's horrible for us. It's horrible for everybody involved, and yet EDD has the audacity and the bureaucratic arrogance to say that. So know that we're fighting for you, but also know we're elevating this to the governor, the governor's office. I for one think that we need to completely rehaul management and bring stakeholders both inside government and outside government, the best folks in almost a strike team to assist EDD with this work. There are literally a million things that need to happen, and they need to happen yesterday. And by the way, John, if you could just reach out to me, the HR guy, love to chat with you more. I think EDD could use you.
He works in your district too.
I do work in your district.
Let's
okay, I got to leave you guys. I'm going to leave you guys. I want to go to Kevin Kiley. I'm so sorry. Kevin, I'm going to give you the last word here. You only got about a minute. What do you say to everybody here?
Well, I say I'm sorry that our government has failed you. And, I know that an apology doesn't really do you much good when what you need is, the ability to get by and provide for your family. But the EDD and the governor need to do a lot better and need to have a sense of urgency. And, if there's any silver lining here, I think it has provided a lot of folks a window into the way our government works, because this is a certainly exaggerated version of the troubles that happen within our state government all the time. But it does reflect the way that business is often done, that we're not having the level of performance that Californians deserve out of their government.
Assembly member Kevin Kiley and David Chu and John and all the people, Marty, everyone who joined us here, and then everybody who's watching, I sure appreciate your time. Our time is up, so I'm going to have to go, but thank you very much. This is an important conversation. I appreciate everyone's time.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Carolyn, if you can hear this, please call your union president. I've already reached out to him and told him that he can give you my contact information, and you can give me a call on Monday when I'm back in the office, because I work with Mike Lager-Marcino. Okay.
Oh, and do you know Peter Finn?
Yes, I know them both very well.
They both know me from previous conversations before.
Sure, just reach out to Mike Lager-Marcino and he'll give you my contact information.